I want to personally thank you, Senator Grassley. This is unusual, change in leadership in this committee, and yet an issue which we took up very seriously in the last few years on a bipartisan basis has survived the change, and in fact this hearing is evidence of the determination of the chairman. I'd like to join him in that assurance that we're taking this issue very seriously. It was almost exactly 2 years ago this committee held a similar hearing. We heard from 6 witnesses about the harm social media does to our kids and grandkids. A mom whose son took his own life after he was bullied online. A young woman whose mental and physical health suffered as she chased the unattainable lifestyle depicted on Instagram and other apps. Experts who told us how big tech designs their platforms to be addictive, keeping users online for longer and longer and longer time so they can be fed more targeted ads. Individuals combating the tidal wave of child sexual abuse material, or CSAM, flowing across the internet. At the end of that hearing, I told the witnesses and the many parents and young people in the audience I was going to roll up my sleeves, get to work and pass legislation to protect kids from online safety concerns. That spring, the committee reported 5 bills that help protect kids online. It included my Stop CSAM Act, and I want to thank Senator Hawley for joining me in that effort, which we hope to renew soon, along with bipartisan bills from Senators Graham, Blumenthal, Klobuchar, Cornyn, Blackburn, and Ossoff. These bills were reported out of this committee unanimously. For anyone who's a newcomer to Capitol Hill or to this committee, you have the American political spectrum from one end to the other on this committee. And for us to do anything unanimously is nothing short of a political miracle. We did it. The Senate Judiciary Committee contains members across the spectrum, the most conservative Republican to the most progressive Democrat. It's almost unheard of to pass a bill unanimously, yet we did it 5 times. One of these bills, the Report Act, later signed into law by President Biden, strengthened the cyber tip line run by National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. As for the rest, different story. Big Tech opened up its $61.5 million lobbying war chest to make sure these bills never became law. Now let's be clear. None of these bills are the silver bullet that would make the internet completely safe for our kids. But they would be significant steps towards finally holding tech companies accountable for the harms that they caused, the damage that they caused, the death that they caused. And that's why the tech companies opposed them as strongly as they did. They didn't do it publicly. Publicly, oh, it's such a great idea. But privately, they just beat the hell out of us. So just over a year ago, I called in the CEOs of the 5 major tech platforms. Some I had to issue subpoenas to demand answers on the record under oath. And that hearing produced some results. Several companies implemented child safety improvements just days before their CEOs came to testify. And Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg, under pressure from Senator Hawley, artful questioning, gave a long overdue apology to the parents his platform had hurt. But apologies and too little too late reforms are simply not enough. The dozens of parents and survivors in that room, the thousands impacted across the country, demand more. And I, for one, plan to follow through. In the coming weeks, Senator Hawley and I will reintroduce the Stop CSAM Act. This bill will finally open the courthouse door to families whose children have been victimized due to big tech's failure to safeguard their online platforms. I hope Senator Grassley will help me schedule a timely markup on that bill. And this week, I'll join Senators Graham, Whitehouse, Hawley, Klobuchar, and Blackburn to introduce a bill to sunset Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act in 2 years. This is long overdue. Section 230 and the legal immunity it provides to big tech has been on the books since 1996, long before social media was part of our lives. To the extent this protection was ever needed, its usefulness for this so-called fledgling industry has long since passed. I'm under no illusion that it'll be easy to pass legislation to protect kids online and finally make the tech industry legally accountable for the damage that they're causing. But they ought to face the same liability as every other industry in America. Just last year, big tech and its allies in the House killed a bill the Kids Online Safety and Privacy Act, a bill introduced, I believe, by Senators Blumenthal and Senator Blackburn as well. That would have imposed a basic duty of care on tech platforms. It passed the Senate 91-3, but big tech did it in the House. Couldn't even get it up for a vote. The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children receives 100,000 reports to its cyber tip line every single day. That's not just a statistic. Each of these reports involves a victim. It could be anything from images of a toddler being raped to a teenager being coerced, extorted, groomed, and encouraged to commit suicide. 100,000 reports in the United States every single day. I hope everyone keeps that in mind as we hold this hearing. We cannot wait. We have to move. I hope it drives the public to demand Congress finally do something.